Namaste students. Today we are going to learn about coordination in plants. Here, plants do not have nervous system and they don't have muscles also. In animals, they have nervous system and muscles. So, the coordination seems to be different. But in plants, they don't have nervous system, muscles, and they don't even have specialized cell to detect and respond. So, but how do they respond to stimuli and how do they coordinate inside the body? That we are going to see in this lesson. And of course, the response of plants will be slower than animals. Now, here are some pictures which show movement in plants. In the case of the first picture, you see here seeds germinating. This is one kind of movement, and here this is a picture of a touch-me-not plant which shows movement. And this is also a movement, but there is some difference between these two movements. The first one, the movement of this seed, that is the seed bursting out and the seedling coming out, is a movement, and this movement is related to growth. Whereas here, this movement that is in touch-me-not plant, they collapse when we touch, and that movement is actually not related to growth. So they have a different movement. Now this movement we call it as growth related movement, and that is named as tropic movement, and this one is called as nastic movement. So this is a picture which shows nastic movement. You can see a person touching the leaves of Mimosa pudica, the botanical name of the plant touch-me-not, and once it is touched, you can see the leaves collapsing, right? So this type of movement is nastic movement, and it is not related to growth. Now, this is also another movement that we see in plant. It is germination of seed, and this movement is actually growth related movement. So such movement we call it as tropic movement. In the case of touch-me-not plant, it is not related to growth, so it is called as nastic, whereas this movement is related to growth, so it is called as tropic movement. Now let us see how this movement in this plant is brought about. Actually, in plants, in all other plants, we do not see such movements. This plant is a special plant which shows movement for the sense of touch. So we say that it is thigmonastic because it is able to show movement when once it is touched. So such kind of movement we say which has a sense of touch, that we say it as thigmonastic movement. Here let us now see how this happens in Mimosa pudica. When the tip of the leaf is touched, it collapses. That is, it closes. You can see the leaves closing like this. And the movement happens at one point different from the point of touch. If a person touches the plant at one point, but it keeps on moving in all the other leaflets of this plant. How does it happen? It is because there are some electrical and chemical means which is able to convey the message which is received at the tip of the leaflet. So it passes through this by means of electrical and chemical means. And this collapse now it's due to the change in the amount of water that is present in the leaf. See, every cell has water, and when once it is touched, the amount of water changes, and this brings about, this conveys the message to the next leaflet, and it keeps on moving. Then in this manner only the message is sent to the leaflets, and that is how the whole leaf closes. So such a movement we call it as nastic movement. And where do you see that? In touch-me-not plant. So this is a special plant showing this touch cells. Now let us move on to the movement that is related to growth. That we call it as tropism. There are various types of tropism in plants. Various movement we see based on different factors. and accordingly they are named as phototropism, hydrotropism, geotropism and chemotropism. What do you mean by phototropism, hydrotropism, geo and chemotropism? It's nothing but it is the movement of the plant, either the part of the plant or the plant towards the light, means it is called as phototropism. If it moves towards water, it is called as hydrotropism. Then geotropism means if it moves towards the soil or towards the earth. Then if it moves towards a chemical, any chemical is there and towards that chemical if it moves, then it is called as chemotropism. Now let us see in detail about these tropism. Now look at this picture. What is this? This is a potted plant which is kept in a dark room. And there is a single window through which sunlight comes. When you keep this plant in a dark room, you will find that after a few days, the growth of the plant will be towards the sunlight. So it will be bending towards the sunlight. Initially it will be straight, but after a few days, it will be growing in search of sunlight. So it is growing there towards, it is bending and growing towards the sunlight because this is the only way through which it can get sunlight. So such a movement, if you see that towards the sunlight, that is called as phototropism. So phototropism means it's the movement of the part of the plant towards sunlight. Now this is a GIF picture where you will see a plant, that is sunflower plant, and you know about it. It's a plant, it's named as sunflower. You know why? Because it moves towards the sun. So the movement of the part of the plant towards the sunlight is called phototropism, and this particular plant shows that visibly. You can see this plant in the morning, it will be facing towards the east, that is from where it gets the sunlight, and during evening if you see, it will be facing in the west side, and this is how it keeps moving. It always moves along with the light. Wherever the light is there, it will move along. So this shows phototropism. Now, this is about geotropism. What is geotropism? The movement of the part of the plant towards the earth is called geotropism. All plants show geotropism. They have roots, stem part, shoots, everything. And the shoot part is this and the root part is this. This root part always grows towards the soil only. However you keep changing the position, you will see always the roots will be growing towards the. So that movement is called as geotropism. Now this is an activity which will show that roots always grow towards the earth. Now you have to take 3 seeds and sow it in the soil and allow it to germinate. After some time you will see that the roots coming out, that is from the radicle roots will be coming out and from the plumule the shoot will be coming out, right? This, what you are doing is when it starts to grow, you have to take out the seeds. Again you have to keep it in these 3 positions, that is one which is having the plumule and radicle facing upwards, in that position we have to keep. Another one where the plumule and radicle, where they come out, that region should be facing the bottom, and the other one in the sides. If you place the seeds in this way, again after few days if you see, you will see that again the root turning and growing towards the soil. So however you turn the seed and keep it, always the roots will be growing towards the earth. And this third one also, even if it is kept on the tip or the embryo is on one side, still you will find the root alone growing downwards. So here from these pictures you can see that the roots always grow towards the earth. So this proves that all plants show geotropism. Now let us see some more points about geotropism. Of course, you know what is tropism. Tropism means a growth response which a plant makes with respect to the directional stimulus is a tropism. That's a definition. Now, what do you mean by negatively geotropic and positively geotropic? See, geotropic means, I told you, plants show movement towards the soil. Negative means the bending of the shoot away from the pull of the gravity. That is, if it grows away from the earth, that we call as negative geotropism. Which part of the plant shows that? It is the stem part, shoot part. It always grows up above the soil. Why does it grow like that? Because it needs chlorophyll, it has to prepare chlorophyll and it needs sunlight. So always the shoot part will be growing up and the root part will be growing towards the soil. So in this plant we can see the root part positively geotropic and the shoot part showing negative geotropic movement. Now the next type of movement that we see in plant is a movement of the part of the plant towards a chemical that we call it as chemotropism. Now if you see, this is a plant with a tendril. Tip of the plant, it goes in search of the support there. How does it go and catch hold of the support? It is all because of the chemical. So chemical helps, that is a stimulus for this plant, and the plant grows towards the chemical. Because of the chemical, it is moving towards the support. So here, the movement is mainly because of the chemical. So we call it as chemotropism. Now this is also another example for you to understand chemotropism a little better. Here, this is a structure of the female reproductive structure of a plant. Here, this is what you see, red color rounded structures here. They are nothing but pollen grains. After pollination, you will see the pollens falling on the stigma of the flower. This, when once it falls on the stigma of the pistil, this is a pistil structure, that is a female reproductive part of the flower. Once it falls on it, the pollen starts growing there. What makes it to grow? It is because of the chemical that is produced there. It will burst open, germinates, we can say. From there, the germ tube will come out, and through that, the male gamete which is present in the pollen grain, it starts moving. This movement is because of the chemical that is present there. So this is also a movement which is caused by a chemical, so we call it as chemotropism. The male gamete will move through this tube and then it comes towards the female gamete and fuses to form the zygote. So far you have learnt about phototropism, geotropism, chemotropism. So the last one is the hydrotropism. The movement of the part of a plant towards the water is called as hydrotropism. Now you can see in this picture, the root is growing down, that is due to geotropism, and when it grows in search of water, wherever it finds water, towards that side the root will be growing. So this movement is towards the water, so we call it as hydrotropism. Now this is an activity to prove that roots grow towards water, and for this you have to take a trough and fill it with soil, and you have to place a germinated seed in it, which has given out the root as well as the shoot. So here you see a small baby plant coming out, that is the shoot part of it coming out, and that is the plumule, and this is the radicle which starts growing there. Now what you are doing is, you have to keep a pot or any vessel containing water inside that trough. And you are not going to water the plant here. What you are going to do is keep water only in this pot. After a few days, you will see that the root growing towards the water. This pot is porous, so it can give out water through the pores into the soil. So it will be sensing and going through this. So this is also one type of movement. Here water is a stimulus which is making the plant to grow towards it. So if you keep this pot on the other side, then you will see the root growing towards that side. So from this we understand that roots grow towards water. This is what we call it as hydrotropism. So you have learnt about hydrotropism and geotropism, phototropism, and all types of tropic movements. Now we are going to see a different movement. This is also related to chemical movement only, that is chemotropism. But this is about the shoot tip. Now, about the working or the function of hormones in plants. Now, what are hormones? Hormones are chemical substances that are present in plants, just like how they are present in animals and human beings. These hormones help the organisms to move about as well as show some response. Now, in plants also some hormones are there. About that I will tell you. And here auxin is one such hormone, and this is present at the tip of the shoot. And this hormone, what it does is, normally when it is growing straight, that is if it receives light at the top, it will be growing straight, and the auxin diffuses at the tip of the shoot and diffuses evenly on all sides. So it will be growing straight. So auxin is responsible for the growth of the shoot tip. So it will be growing straight when, as long as it gets the sunlight evenly. But if the sunlight comes through one side, that is towards left or right like that, immediately this chemical starts working in a different manner. This one, auxin, now it will be diffusing that chemical, but it will be diffusing more on the other side, that is the side which is opposite to the sunlight. Why does it diffuse on the opposite side? Means when it diffuses on the opposite side, cells start dividing faster on the opposite side, and here it will be slower. So the cells which are dividing faster, so more number of cells will be there on the side opposite to the sunlight. So this helps the tip of the plant to grow longer than this side. So this will help the plant to bend towards the sunlight. If the auxin chemicals diffuses more on this side, then it will be turning to the opposite side. So more of auxin will be diffused on the side opposite side of the sunlight, so that it will be bending towards the sunlight. So this is how the growth is seen. The previous picture, that is phototropism, I showed you a plant which is kept in a dark room. It is bending and growing towards the sunlight. How does it happen? It's all because of this hormone, right? Now, the same auxin helps even in tendril. What are tendril? It is a tip of the plant. It may be a leaf tip, it may be an axil, or it may be the shoot tip also, which is very tender, and it is capable of capable of perching the support. This part is what we call as tendril. It may be coiled, and the auxin in the plant hormone, as I told you, it's one of the chemical substance which is synthesized at the tip of the tendril. So at the tip of the tendril or tip of the shoot, you would see this hormone. It helps the cells to grow longer, and because it produces that chemical which is capable of bringing about a cell division and increasing the number of cells. When a tendril comes in contact with the support, see, this is the support. Let us imagine this is a support. This tendril, when it comes in contact with the support, auxin stimulates and faster growth of the cells in the part of the tendril opposite to the support. As I told you, the shoot tip, what happens? Opposite side only more of auxin is diffused. In the same manner, here also you will see the tendril tip, wherever the support is, on that side it will be producing less, but on the opposite side it will be producing more, and it will be diffusing more and making that part to bend towards the support. So that is how the tendril also coils around the support because of this auxin, right? Now let us see the various other plant hormones which help in coordinating in the plants. These are the plant hormones, which we also call it as phytohormones. Here, these are various hormones that are seen in plants. First one is cytokinin, the second one gibberellin, third one auxin, this already you have heard, and abscisic is the next one, then ethylene. Now let us see what are the functions of these hormones. Cytokinin helps in the cell division. So normally it is found in the shoot tip or root tip. So this helps in cell division so that it keeps growing there. Gibberellin helps in the growth and development of the plant. You can see this gibberellin helping in germination of the seeds. So in the growth and development it is very well, it controls the growth of the plant. Then auxin helps in the growth of the tendril towards the support and also in the development of the plant. When it increases the number, naturally it helps in growth. Then abscisic acid, this is a hormone which is said as an inhibitor. It doesn't help in growth. Okay, all the other these three they help in growth, whereas abscisic acid doesn't help in growth. It's an inhibitor. Then ethylene is another phytohormone which will help in ripening of the fruit. So these are the different hormones that are present in the plant. So now we have completed about the coordination in plants. I hope you have understood. Now let me come to the question part of this module. Now can you tell the name of the plant hormone that inhibit growth? Just now I told you there is one hormone which will inhibit the growth of the plant. Can you name what it is? Yes, you have to wait for some time to get the answer. Which hormone helps in the growth of the shoot tip? Then third question, what is the stimulus in hydrotropism? What is the movement in touch me not plant called? And what is meant by tropic movement? Shall we see the answer? Here are the answers for your reference. Plant hormone which inhibit growth is abscisic. Then abscisic acid. Then the hormone that helps in the growth of the shoot tip, it's auxin. Then the stimulus in hydrotropism is water. Then the movement in touch me not plant, we call it as nascic movement. Then the tropic movement means it is a growth related movement. Right, you got the answer? Namaste.